What's up, guys? It's your girl Penny here, and today is another episode of Underground Artist Exposed. We are going to be interviewing the owner of Always On Point Visuals, Melvin Morgan. Melvin is a photographer that I've been watching for quite some time, actually, and he has grown so much over time. He also is extremely consistent with his work. He's always putting work out there. He's always taking photos. He makes it to all of the events. He gets amazing nature shots, action shots. He takes portraits. He does weddings. I mean, the man does it all. He takes photos at church every Sunday. And my favorite thing about his photos is that you can really feel the emotion. You feel like you are in the room, a part of the moment, and they each have their own statement, which I think is so powerful. He's not just a person who picked up a camera and was like, hey, I'm a photographer. I believe he really has a purpose and a plan with his photography. I am going to be putting in a slideshow of some of Melvin's work that I love. Some of these photos are from church. Some are from a peaceful protest that happened in my hometown of Uniontown. Some of them are just portraits, senior photos. You know, the man has an extensive portfolio. So I grabbed a couple of my favorite photos, but you guys know I will put the link to his Facebook and his Instagram so that you guys can keep up with Always On Point Visuals and book him so that your visuals are always on point. I love that. I think that is brilliant. Okay, I'm done talking. I'm done jabbing up the jaws. I am going to go now, and when we get back, Melvin will be here and we will dig more into his journey as a photographer.
My heart's been ripped wide open. So many mixed emotions. It's like I finally noticed I've been set free. I've been set free. I spent a lifetime running, fearing what I'd become if I stop playing goalie on all of my thoughts, yeah. Speaking out straight from my heart, but now I see. Oh, I see this love is taking over, breaking through my chest and overflowing. With every single beat, it pulls me closer, closer to you. I'm never gonna hold back being someone to lean on. I'll always be that two-way phone call when you need one. When everything in life is getting harder to shoulder, I'll be your soldier. My heart's been ripping wide open, 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 wide open. My heart's been ripping wide open, 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 wide open. No words enough to show it. Now my whole world's in motion. I feel like Fred, but in my neighborhood, yeah. Call me and I will make sure to set you free. To set you free. Oh, I see this love is taking.
We have Melvin here who is branding himself. This is like the key thing to running a business.
Yeah.
You are marketing yourself.
Absolutely. LP.
So how are you today,
I'm
Melvin?
good. Very
You're
good. Yep.
Are you excited to be here?
I am.
You are. It's a whole new world of people out there.
Yes.
Who are going to see your work and book you and like do amazing things.
Awesome.
So this is really exciting. But I wanted to bring you in because I've been watching you for a while, actually, and does this make me cocky? I don't always like think people are like as good as me in photography, but I actually think you're better than me. So
wow.
You are really
Thank
good.
you.
I think you can feel the action and the emotion in the photos, and I love that you take photos at church.
Yeah.
That is like my favorite thing ever.
Awesome.
Love that. I think people need to see that, and I think you will go very far with photography, definitely.
Thank you.
No problem.
I appreciate that.
So how did you start taking photos?
Basically, okay, so this is a long story. All
Take your time.
So I was never into photography, or never thought I'd be into it. I always like cameras on phones, you know, like, oh, this one has this many megapixels or whatever, you know, and my uncle, well, put it this way, the Nokia, the legendary Nokia 1020. Have you ever heard of that?
Actually, no.
It came out in like 2014. It had a 40 megapixel camera on it.
Okay.
It was like the back, like it bulged up like that much. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I know that thing takes amazing pictures, you know? So I always wanted it, wasn't able to get it. But then I discovered Nokia and their phones. They really like took another leap for their cameras at that time, where they allowed you to use, to change the shutter speed, your exposure, what else it did sometimes it even allowed you to use like a little manual like focus thing, so you can focus macro to landscape. And I'm like, oh wow, that's really cool, that's how that works, you know. So I started realizing how photography kind of works in terms of like shutter speed and aperture and all that stuff. So I had the 820, I had the 920. These are all Nokias, and then my uncle traded me, I can't remember what I traded. He has like literally everything. And he traded me the 1020. He went and bought it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, you got it? I was like, what can I trade you? Like, well, how can I get it? And he gave me that. So I like vowed myself to just be like a phone photographer, because I had no idea about a DSLR. I had no idea, and I've seen them all the time, football games, things like that, but I never actually knew what they did, or, you know, I knew they were cameras, I just didn't know what the benefits was of it. So my uncle, later on, as I was taking pictures with my 1020, and I still have a lot of pictures that are some of my favorite pictures I took with phone, you know. And out of nowhere, I went down his house. I was like, man, I'm really getting into this photography thing, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, here, he's like, I got something for you, right? And he gave me a Canon. At first, it was an old Canon PowerShot. It was a bridge camera, no lens, no removable lens, and it didn't work. And I was like bummed out about it. I'm like, man, it don't work, Mom. He's like, well, it was working what I had. What'd you do? I didn't do nothing, man. So he's all right, I got something else. So I came down, because he has everything, like I said. I go back down, and he had a Canon XS. It was one of the earlier crop sensor models. Yeah. And that's really where it took off. But when I first got it, I was doing my reading and trying to figure out how to work it, and all the photos would either be overexposed or way underexposed or blurry, and it was just terrible. So I just sat it on the shelf.
Where we all start.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I sat it on the shelf. I didn't touch it, and it was a while before I just would read, and I still used my my 1020. And I was like, you know, I'm not even gonna mess with that. And, you know, and then I read, and then I read one article, and it was called the triangle or the exposure triangle, where you talk about exposure, aperture, or actually it's ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. Yeah. And that's what makes the exposure.
Yes.
And then once I understood how it worked, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it.
Makes sense.
It made more sense.
Yes.
So I grabbed the camera, and that's where it started. I started just taking pictures with it and learning the relationship with all the different settings. And even when I look back now, I didn't know what I was doing still. I was in every other mode. I look at like the settings of my pictures, I'm like, what was I doing? Like, you know, but you just grow. You know, you understand your mistakes, and that's really where it started.
That is. Okay, that's awesome. That is awesome. It was quite a journey. You went a little bit all over the place.
Right, exactly.
That's okay. That's okay. So do you prefer to shoot with a camera now?
Mm-hmm, for sure, absolutely.
What's your go-to setup?
I have my camera bag.
Well, I mean, pull it out. Show them the Carfax.
All right, so this right here is the Terrian. It's a shell bag. I just got it. It's one of my favorite bags ever. I have like 3 bags though.
It's pretty nice.
Oh yeah, it's like really strong. So like if something falls on it, I had a kid fall on this during a shoot, and I wasn't even worried about it. Little kid.
Like, oh, it's fine.
Oh no. I'm like, no, it's good. That's good. So I actually have. This is basically my running gun. Like if I'm going somewhere, and literally anytime I go anywhere, you can ask my wife, I literally always have my camera with me, no matter what. Everybody knows that. This is the lens I just picked up. This is probably like if I had to go somewhere and I had no idea what I was going to get into, had no idea what I was shooting. They said, just bring a camera, bring a lens. This is the one, okay? This is the 18-35 Sigma. It's a 1.8 aperture through the whole zoom range, and it's a first of its kind. There's never been a camera that had a wide open aperture that doesn't, it's not variable. You know, some lenses, whenever you zoom in, the aperture closes.
Yeah.
This one doesn't do that.
Okay.
So this is like, you can do portraits with this, because technically, it's not an 18-35 since this is the 80D, and it's a crop sensor.
Yes.
So it's 1.6, so it's technically like a 28-50. And the 50mm, as you know, really good for portraits.
Love. Actually, my go-to.
Yeah, the 50. It's beautiful.
Love
yes.
the 50.
Yeah.
Yes.
So with this, it gives me that look, and plus I can go wide if I need to. And the barrel doesn't move when you zoom, which is also awesome. So this is like if I didn't know what I was getting into. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if I knew I was going somewhere where I had to do some portraits,
okay,
I'd go with the 85mm.
Oh yes.
You can't beat that.
You can't beat
Yeah,
it.
85.
No, yes.
It's
that's
sharp.
perfect.
Yeah, and it comes out to be like a 135mm on crop sensor, which is still nice because
Yeah.
it gives you some reach. And then I know you said like one lens, but I never have.
Listen, do your thing. Seriously.
And then this is for wildlife.
Yes.
This is the 300mm prime lens. There's no zoom, so it doesn't zoom.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's just straight 300. That's it.
That's
so
amazing.
I couldn't focus on anything in here. Maybe in the far corner. That's as close as you can get.
Yeah.
But that's why it's mainly for wildlife, and you can also do some sports. I've done a baseball game with this. Man, what else did I do? I did something else with sports and stuff like that with this lens, and it works out good. No image stabilization, so you really can't use it for video unless you have like a really good tripod, but you're not really gonna be using it for video. Really.
Yeah, I don't.
So, yes. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's way
Probably
too
not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is my go-to wildlife lens right here. Or, like I said, if I have to do some sports. And then I have just one other lens that kind of, unfortunately, got replaced by the first one I showed you. Is my
That happens. We cycle through them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now the
Yeah.
only reason why I have this is just for video. That's it. It's the 24 to 105mm Canon L lens. It's built great because it's the L series, but it has image stabilization, and that's why I use it for like video or something like that. And if I have enough light and I need reach and I can't be too close to people, this is still good. But
Yeah.
with the f4 constant aperture, it's a lot slower than that 1.8. Plus it
Yeah.
gives you less depth of field. So, but it's
Factual.
yeah, exactly. But it's perfect for video. So those basically are my lenses I use. And so I have other ones at the house. I got a 50, but that one, with that being able to give me that actual 50 look, I keep that with me, and then I keep the 85 with me for like portraits and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You're pretty educated on your cameras. Yeah, you're pretty educated. Maybe you should start a YouTube channel.
Hey,
I'm just
never
saying,
know.
teach people a couple of things. So,
Right.
what's your favorite style of photography to shoot? Do you have one? Just
wow.
one?
That's hard. You know what? To be honest with you, because when I really first started getting into photography, my whole thing was wildlife. I love wildlife. So, and it was so easily accessible around here. I can be at Dunlap Lake in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I can be up the mountains in another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like you always have that opportunity to shoot it. But really one of my favorite types of photography is street photography.
Yes.
I love street photography.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, just people's emotions, just candid shots of just people being people.
Being people.
Yep.
Those are my favorite too.
Yes, I love that.
Yes.
It's like if I had to go somewhere right now, I would love to go like downtown New York, or one of my favorite places I shot was downtown Cincinnati. We went down there for a kidney walk, like for like kidney disease and different things like that. And you just walk. They didn't have it this year because of COVID, but I had so much fun down there just shooting different people and stuff like that. Some people look at you crazy. You have to be bold to do it.
You
because
do.
You just have to take the shot and say, yeah, I took a shot of you. Yes, I did. And
Yes.
you just keep it moving.
Yes,
Because some
that's
people
so
will look
true.
and say, what are you want to take a picture of me? I'm like,
Yeah,
snap,
I
you know?
am sorry, and I'm gonna keep going.
Right, right.
Your shocked face will be a good photo.
Mhm.
You'll thank me. That's how I learned.
Yeah.
That's how I learned how to do photography. How do you keep liking it? Like, I feel like I struggle to like it. Do you just not struggle with that? Like, you just like it all the time?
Not yet. I can't say that I won't get to that place where I'm
Right.
like, oh man, I don't want to shoot today, but I'm not there right now. My camera,
Right.
it goes with me everywhere. I know people probably think, well, why do you always have that camera? But you just never know what type of moment you'll
You
see.
never know.
You never know.
You never know.
A lot of my shots, like street shots and stuff, are from just being out with my camera, and I'm doing drive-bys with it. Basically, I'm driving, I'll roll the window down, snap, I'll just keep it rolling. So I always have it with me. I've never got to the point where I'm just like tired of shooting. I have got to the point where I was tired of editing though. That process can be annoying.
Yes.
Because then you're dealing with, do I have enough storage? And then you're running out of this, and there's different things that happen with the computer that you can't control.
Yes.
Yes. That's what gets annoying. You know what I mean? And I know you're
Yes.
doing video editing. I haven't messed around with, I did like one video edit for the church. We did a Christmas play, and it was like a newsreel type of thing that I did. We set it up. It was super easy, just paste all the different videos together. That's it. Put your little transitions, really basic.
Yeah.
But it gets so much more in depth than that.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm ready for that yet. I just got a good laptop though, finally. I did all of my editing that I've ever done with any picture. Basically, before maybe like a month ago, I was editing on my phone.
Ooh.
And I did Polar. It was the app that I used. Yeah, it was tough.
You're a soldier.
Yeah,
You're a
it's tough.
soldier.
Because I couldn't.
What?
Right, and I couldn't edit raw. I couldn't edit raw photos. All my photos were
no
JPEGs.
way.
So I had to. Now that I have my laptop, all my photos are now been raw, which gives me more flexibility with editing. But yeah, it's always something.
See, I enjoy editing video more than I do photo. But I think I just like to put a story together. You know, I can move this stuff here and, you know, make it make sense.
Yes,
add a cool little edit in there. I just prefer video. There's just so much room to grow and to move, and you always suck compared to someone else. So I feel like I always have something to like strive for. But editing photos is just like, my eyeballs would be bleeding. I'd be like, I want it to stop. I want it to stop.
Yes.
So that was the thing for me. I do like shooting. I don't like editing.
Gotcha.
So
I got you.
I had to throw the whole career away, but it's fine.
You don't have to throw it all the way away.
I can't do it.
You're still a great photographer.
I can't do it.
One of your best shoots I remember was with that one model downtown.
Sonny.
Yes.
Yes.
And it was right outside. I think you were right outside of the yoga place.
And
And I'm like,
right across the street.
You made it look like it wasn't here in town. Like it looked like it was LA, maybe somewhere like a big city somewhere. And I'm just like, that's Uniontown?
Yeah.
That was unique
Well,
that you
thank
did
you.
that. I really
Thank
like
you.
that.
Yeah, I like that she let me do it. You
Right,
know,
right.
like that was the exciting part, because being right in the center of downtown, you know, people were staring, they were peeping, they were taking their photos. So the model being comfortable with that as well, because I don't care, you know, I'm just taking a picture. I'll get on the ground, I'll do what I gotta do.
Right.
But
Get that shot. That's
is
right.
the model gonna let me do that? Like, are they comfortable with that?
Right.
But I don't know, I don't see it. I don't see it happening. Maybe one day I think I just wanna like shine the light on the others. I think that's what I want to do, and stick to
That's awesome,
the video.
That's awesome.
That's too much for me.
We actually need a lot more people like that. That's what I appreciate about you. You don't mind pushing other folk and just say, hey, there's other people that are doing things. And you'll be blessed in return for that tenfold. Seriously.
Oh, well, I received
That's how
that.
it works.
Okay, I
Serious.
received that.
That's how it
Yes,
works.
that's what I pray over all these. Like, not only that I experience fruit, but that the people that I interview do as well.
Yes.
Because like we do need people who are like putting real people out there, you know, like there are amazing photographers like, you know, Peter McKinnon and people like that. They're awesome.
He's ridiculous. Yeah. He makes me mad.
How do you do it? Like I don't get it.
His B-roll is
Every time I watch his vlogs, my eyes water.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
It's amazing.
Like, it's crazy. So I'm never discrediting him, but I just think he's like actually one of my favorite photographers.
Oh yeah.
But there are people like you and like other people who would like to, you know, get to that level.
Yes.
And I feel like YouTube even seems like a bit of a reach sometimes. Like, can I really do that? Because it's like, there's so much involved, but it's really not. So I feel like as long as, you know, someone can be next to me experiencing the process as well, they're like, oh, well, I saw her literally put this together, and it's not, you know, it's not anything I can't do. And then you can put yourself out there, but like I just want to be like the push. Like you can put yourself out there,
right?
And people will watch and they will enjoy and appreciate your craft.
Absolutely.
So that's my goal. That's what I want to do.
Excellent.
So yeah, thank you for that though.
Yeah,
those
absolutely.
words, I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Okay, wow. Okay, I just lost my train of thought. I need to come back to earth right now. Okay, so do you have any like what is your dream shoot? Like, do you have a dream shoot or a dream shot even? Like, have you ever just imagined something in your mind and been like, if I ever got the opportunity to go and shoot this, I'm gonna go?
That's hard. That's a hard one because I say street photography and stuff. That's one of my favorites. But street photography, you never know what you're gonna get. Right?
No, like, you can't really plan that too much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't say I want to go get a shot of this because anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
But with wildlife, though, there are specific moments that will happen that you know you can get, but you have to get to the right spot to do it.
Mm-hmm.
One shot that I would love to get is an eagle just hitting the water and scooping up a fish out of the water. I did get a shot like that, but I was way too far away and my shutter speed was too slow.
Oh.
And it was blurry and I'm just like, oh.
That's such a heartbreaking moment.
Oh yeah. Wildlife can be like that. I've had so many times where I'll see something and it's in my sights and I see it, and what'll happen is, say I was shooting somewhere indoors, right? Like say I was shooting at the church. My shutter speed might be around, normally I can't get it to go any higher than like 1/200th of a second, but I'm normally coasting like at 1/100th to keep the ISO down. And then I'll go after church and be, all right, I'm gonna go shoot. So I'll go to the lake and I got my camera at those same settings in the middle of the day, right? And one or two things will happen. It'll be super overexposed.
Yes.
If it's a little bit later, it doesn't even matter. It'll be blurry. And I've had that happen before with an eagle. I'm like, oh yeah, I got it. I'll take the shot. Boom, boom, boom. And I got to the point now where I don't always look at my photos. You know how earlier on, you'll look at every photo.
You stop, you're like,
you're looking, but
missing moments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Once you start to know where your settings are good, you don't worry about it, but you still make mistakes.
Yes.
And that's what I did. I took the shots and all of them were blurry. Every shot, I was just like, oh my goodness.
I've been there.
Kidding me. So, yeah, I would say different wildlife shots. Like I would like to get, I don't know if you know what a kingfisher is.
I do not.
It's about this big, long beak, and what it does, it'll like hover above the water and it'll come down, hit the water, take a fish. It'll literally be underneath the water and come back up and fly and go away. It's pretty cool. I'm really nerdy when it comes to birds. I'm a bird guy.
I see you're into birds.
Yeah.
That's
shots,
okay.
Certain shots like that, those are the type of shots I really, really love.
Okay, I hope you get them one day.
Yeah, for sure.
You will.
Yeah.
You will get them one day. We're gonna speak it into existence.
That's right.
Is photography like your full-time thing, Majig? Like, do you want it to be?
I want it to be.
Yeah,
I do want it to be. I'm a musician too. So that's like that's another difficult thing to do when you have different talents.
Oh.
And you're trying to figure out what do I do? Because photography takes so much time that I don't take enough time because I'm a drummer and I'm a bass player as well, and I teach drums. So teaching drums, I got students that come, that's just gonna be, it is what it is with that. Because I'm working on their time and my time, so I don't play with that. When it comes to practice, that's all my time. So that's when I get lazy with it. So, you know what I mean?
I don't feel like doing this today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's another one of my things, obviously. But yeah, I want photography to be something that it can be sustainable. I don't have to
Yeah.
make $1 billion. I don't have to make $100,000 a year. I just want to be comfortable.
Just
That's
comfortable.
really all I want to be. A little bit above comfortable where I can say, ooh, I want to buy this camera. I can go buy it.
Yeah.
Or I want to go get
Yeah.
this for my car. I can go do it. You know, and I'm not worried about rent or anything like that. That just, boom, it's gone.
It's good.
And I'm not
Cool.
worried about it. That's where, you know, a lot of people want all of the money, and I don't want money to control me. You know, I want to be happy with my family, being able to get things done, because I know at the end of the day, God's going to provide everything I need.
I mean, you better say that.
Yes.
You better say
Everything.
that.
Everything. At
Yes,
the
he
end of the day.
is.
He provides
Yes.
it. And he always has. He's never got me to a point where
Through.
yeah, right? He always comes through, no matter
Yes,
what. So
yes.
So that's why I really don't worry about it. But I love photography, and it's one of those things. There was another talk show. Have you heard with Chats with Chala?
Yes.
She had a guy on last night, and he said something that really resonated with me. I'm like, okay, that's what I'm talking about. He said, when it comes to passion, he says that's the thing you have to have about a craft that you love to do. He says, you break it down and say, if I had to do this for free, would I still enjoy it? And I ask myself that all the time. When it comes to music, that's absolutely. I've been doing it for free. I've been playing music my whole life.
Right.
Photography, I don't make a ton of money, especially with like wildlife stuff. I've never really tried to push it out there to different things, try to sell it. If I had to take photos for the rest of my life without making another dime, I would take photos for the rest of my life without making another dime. It wouldn't bat an eye. Because that's the passion. I enjoy
Yeah.
it. So I think that's really, you know, at the end of it, if I make money doing it, great. All right, I made some money doing something that I love
Yeah.
to do. You know, like
Yeah.
that's great. You know, but if I don't, oh well, I still enjoy it. You know, that's where you get to the point where I'm not letting money control it. Because
Yeah.
if so, and I only want to do it for money. If I'm not making money, then it may discourage me, and I might be like, I don't want to do this. I'm not making any money. Like, forget it. And I sit it on the shelf, and then it's something that's gone. So that's just the way I look at it.
That's a lot of what it looks like for me.
you
You
go.
know, I asked myself that question, would you do it for free? No. So
Oh yeah, there you go. There you go.
gone. I don't have any incentive to finish your work if I didn't
Right.
get paid with photography.
I got you.
But I could do this for the rest of life and never get a paycheck and
There you go.
be satisfied.
Excellent.
You know, be satisfied. So it is good. Hopefully that it does become something that can be like your provider of income, at least
Yes.
your main one, because we want to have multiple streams of revenue.
Right.
Right.
Right,
So
absolutely.
there could be other ways to make it, you know, your primary income. Like
Absolutely.
YouTube. No, I'm not gonna push that on you, but
Hey,
that is
no, YouTube
totally
is-
a way.
Yeah,
It's
it
totally
really
a way. That's how I learned how to use my cameras when I dropped out of school and I needed to go further. I was like, okay, I gotta get on YouTube, watch people on YouTube,
Absolutely.
and be like, okay, I'm gonna go outside and try this. Cool. I can
YouTube
do
University.
that. It's a real thing.
It's serious.
It's a
I'm
real
serious.
thing.
It really is.
It has taught me so much.
You know, that's how I learned basically everything. Just reading articles and watching YouTube.
Yeah.
Any lens I buy, I watch Chris Frost.
I don't know who Chris Frost is.
Chris Frost Photography. He does literally a review on every lens. I mean, all the lenses in this bag except for the 300. He reviewed the 300 with IS. Mine doesn't have image stabilization, but all these
Yeah.
other ones he reviewed. The one on that camera he reviewed. That camera he reviewed. My camera he reviewed. Everything. And that's where I go before I buy any lens. I watch multiple reviews. You can ask people that know me. You know, I just, that's all I do is watch video, and then I finally get to the point where I'm like, okay, I'll buy that.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
I feel
if it
like
were-
I've heard enough.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go get it, you know, and that's the same thing with even videos that talk about that video I told you about that talked about the exposure. There was an article and there was a video to the article as well. I still go back and watch that video now just so I can kind of refresh my mind because there's so much. Especially now that I've tried to dabble a little bit and learn a little bit more about video, literally video changes everything.
Oh yeah.
It changes. I mean, all the stuff I think about with photography, I'm like, holy crap. Like you almost have to think backwards or you have to think more and it's like, oh my gosh. So I'll go back to the basics and read to make sure I know what I'm, you know, doing and then try and do it.
But photography helps so much with video. It really does. I feel like you can't really even understand video completely if you don't know photography to some degree, because even though they are different, they do ultimately have the same principles at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like it's really pretty much the exact same thing. It's just you know, if you're using two cameras, getting everything to like match up. But that's the same if you had a second shooter.
True.
You know, you guys would need to have the same settings.
Vision. Yeah, that's true.
Like, you know, you and I have different styles of editing. I don't think you'd hire us for the exact same event if you wanted the same looking photos.
Right.
Like,
that's true.
Not that one is better than the other. We just have different styles.
Yep.
And that's just, you know,
true.
what it is. And video, you know, you got to make sure it's in focus. You got to like check the settings. If you're changing scenes, you got to kind of get it to blend with the last scene, which doesn't always happen.
Wow.
So
that sounds insane.
it's a little bit of a challenge, but you know, there's iPhones that shoot in 4K, which is insane to me, but they do. So
that new one is coming out. Looks like it's gonna be pretty good too.
I want it.
I've seen some pictures
solely for the camera.
Yeah.
But there is the Google Pixel. You hear of that?
Yeah.
I want it so bad. The photos are just so crispy.
They're amazing.
And it's just like,
for a phone.
like that's a phone?
Yeah.
Like, what
It's
is
almost
that?
like, whoa, like you have to get microscopic to even tell the difference.
Yeah.
Not like
literally.
nowadays, you have to really crop in and say, oh, okay, I see there's more pixels here.
Yeah.
Oh well. Nobody's doing that. And on top of that, nobody's really printing photos either. That's where you see the difference. If you printed something and put it on this wall, now you'll see the difference between a DSLR and a phone, but everybody's putting it online on YouTube. So the screens are only this big.
Yep.
So everything's condensed.
Yeah.
So everything will really look good. It's this depth of field, and that's really it. That really changes, you know, when you move up to a DSLR.
Yeah.
And more versatility with lenses. There's a bunch of that. But honestly, if you're like a street photographer, even maybe portraits, you can get away with a phone, and especially with video. You can do a lot. I've seen video with phones. I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is crazy.
Yeah.
It's really
They're
good.
Powerful. They are
They're
powerful.
amazing.
It's crazy. Yeah. Well, geez. I'm pretty inspired right now. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling pretty inspired. Okay. Well, we talked about the good things, the great and awesome and amazing things. So what are the not so good things for you in photography? Do you have any? Other than the editing?
I think sometimes, and this, honestly, this can be, like sometimes, it's hard to say, but sometimes you want to be known. You want people to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, I'll say this, and I almost got caught up in this, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna allow this to like trip me up. I didn't start an Instagram really until I really started getting into photography. I had this one site called 500px. I've had it for years. And it's a photo like community online. And there's all kind of different things. And there's like a rating that you get, and you get followers a lot quicker on something like that. But nobody that you know has it. It's just photographers that have it really, right? Instagram, everybody has Instagram.
Yes.
But it's not easy to get to grow on Instagram.
It's
difficult. Like you think like, oh my gosh, why did I lose 3 followers? What am I doing wrong? When it's really nothing. It's just, it could be a whole bunch of fake accounts. It could be anything. Yeah. Nowadays, that's how things are. And I think that's one of the things you have to, for me, is to know that it doesn't matter how many followers you have. You have to know what your stuff is for you. I almost got caught up in it's almost like the instant gratification thing. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Instant gratification will not happen.
It will not.
And social media sometimes tries to not program you, but it almost will make you feel like you have to have it. Like there was, I don't know if you've ever watched, there's a show called Black Mirror. I think that's what it's called, Black Mirror. And
a few episodes I've watched.
There was an episode that was literally about that, where like, if you didn't have, like, if somebody would talk to you and they like what you said, they boop, boop, they hit you, you have a like. The more likes you had, the better restaurants you can go to, the better this, that, and the third. But the less you got, if somebody took one from you, then you were like in the slums and stuff. And I think it was basically, it was trying to say like almost what life is like now for some people, where if you don't have the status and you don't have 10,000 followers, that you're not doing anything. There's a lot of people that have 10,000 followers and they're actually just paying to get those likes, you know, or those followers. And they're still not doing anything. And then you got somebody that has, you know what I mean? Or you might have somebody that has 200 and they're killing it. And they're making money, or they're happy, you know? So I had to get past that, and just the fact that you're not going to get every customer. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
There's a lot of competition. I've gotten past it now because things have been going pretty good. I've been able to take photos and get some business here and there, and I'm satisfied. You know, I'm making something, which is good that I'm able to save and stack up something, and being able to get what I want to get now because of that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the hardest thing, is just understanding that not everybody's gonna like it. You're not gonna have instant gratification, and you have to love what you do yourself first before you even put it out anywhere.
Yeah.
You have to love it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that about the instant gratification. Like, you could pick up a camera, take a really awesome photo, put it out there, and it do numbers, you know, quick. But you didn't even really get to decide, like, do I like this? Is this really what I want to do?
Right.
Is this a hobby? Or do I really want this to be a job? But like, once you get that gratification and that acknowledgement, you're almost like pushed into it, like, I have to do this.
Right.
And which is why I feel like we have to go through a process, and why God takes us from the bottom to the top, no elevator, because you need to know for sure within yourself, this is what I want. Because when it takes off, it's taken off, and you cannot get off the train. So you need to know.
That's right.
Is this it? Like, is this it? Or it's going to detour you so many years, you know? So I think it works out in a way not to get the instant gratification, even though when you're in that period, it's like, what the F? Like, you know, what's going on?
Right.
Why? This is amazing. Do people not see that?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
what's their problem?
Right.
Are they blind? Like, I'm great. But.
Exactly. and you'll see something else that you think, I know it's as good as that, but that has this, and you're like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I feel you.
Exactly.
That's one thing that can be hard, and that's for any entrepreneur, anybody who's doing anything. Music, you know, there's a lot of artists around here. Music are better than people who are making millions.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, I know I'm better than
Yeah, like, I know this for sure.
For sure, I know I'm better than this.
But that's also an era we live in, you know? Like, if the world doesn't think this is, like, hot and the best thing happening, then it's not really going to get the recognition it deserves, which is stupid. You know, we're putting this very bad music out there that is very bad for people's minds, their spirits, like, just everything. It's causing them to make bad decisions. Everything. Music has control over everything. People don't realize that. But I feel like, like, we need to get back to the real stuff, the stuff that is like teaching people something, stop putting nonsense out there.
Absolutely. And
start speaking positivity and things back into people in their lives, so that we can stop seeing destruction in the world. You know, that's the only way we're going to stop seeing it, is if we start right here.
You're about to start preaching.
Put it out there. I know, right? I caught myself getting ready to do it. I was like, we're not here for that. But
start preaching.
Yeah, like, I just, which is also another reason I have Underground Artists Exposed, to put real good stuff out there. So I am absolutely willing to reject your work that I don't think is great. That doesn't mean it's not great. You know, I just wasn't feeling the message.
Exactly.
That's all. That's it.
Right.
I gotta pay attention to the message, because that's what my brand is about. That's what I'm about as a person. My brand is me. So I cannot promote something that does not resonate with me and who I am.
Absolutely.
So
right.
You know, we need to get the good stuff back out there. We do. But it all works out. The process is always worth it. It's all preparing you for that moment, that moment that God has for you, where you're like, oh,
amen. This
is why I did everything. This is why I did all this. This is why I sucked at that photo shoot, this photo shoot. So this is why I had to do this, I had to do that. Oh my gosh, I get it. So this one shot that I have 2 seconds to get, I'm prepared.
Right.
I got it. I got it.
Exactly.
The $1 million shot, I got it. Okay. And you have an extensive portfolio now. So that's awesome, you know?
Yes.
Like, I tried this. Like, a lot of photographers don't do that. They jump in and they're like, okay, portraits. Like, well, you know, there's other stuff.
Right.
There's other stuff.
That's another hard thing too. It's trying to find your niche.
Yeah.
I think that might be the most difficult thing for me, because I want to take pictures of everything.
Yeah.
I want to take street photography. I want to take any animal I see. I want to take a picture of it if I can get a good picture of it. I like macro. I like to mess around with macro. The church photos and stuff like that. But like you said, you really you hit the nail on the head earlier when you said you get emotion in your photos. That made me happy because that is what I strive for.
Good.
It's emotion.
It's being achieved.
Yes. I want people to see emotion, and obviously in church you're going to see a lot of emotion. You know, I want people to know that church is just not, you know, stand up, sit down, stand up. Over
Yeah.
It's not just like that.
Yeah.
You know, you're not just sitting there listening to what the pastor's saying. He's beating you over the head and blah blah blah. It's not even like that all the time.
You're
Sometimes
right.
people are really being broken down, but broken down in a good way.
In a good way.
You know, in church, you know, so people are crying out because, and not in a bad way. They're happy. You know what I mean? Something good happened. It's tears of joy. You know, every photo you see where somebody's crying, those are tears of joy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The spirit is in the house at that moment. So, and those are the things that I love to capture. I love emotion. I was just happy when you said that because I was talking about that earlier with my mom, and she was saying the same thing. She's like, yeah, you get a lot of emotion in your photos. And say that. My wife says the same thing. You get emotion. I'm like, okay. But when somebody that's not family, you know, when they say it, you're like, oh, okay. Now I believe it.
Yeah, I believe it now.
Because you don't
have
have to say it. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that.
Well, no problem. No problem. That's what I look for. That is personally what I look for because I don't know, I just think that's what gives the photo its meaning, you know, like anything could be happening here. It's like I could just make up in my mind what I feel was happening here. They caught the Holy Ghost right there and I received that.
Yes,
like that's an awesome photo. So yeah, I definitely think amazing. I do love looking at your work of your family as well. I love that you take photos of your family.
Thank you.
Just everything. Like you're very consistent with how you're putting it out there and it will definitely be rewarded. So keep doing it and working hard and being diligent because it's going to pay off and it's going to pay off really big and you're going to do great things. Okay, you're going to go very far.
Thank you so much.
Don't ever doubt it.
I appreciate that. Yes, thank you.
No problem. But I actually think that's everything. I think we're good here. What do you think? You got anything to say?
Even though it's not that important, still, if you got time, check out the Instagram. Just type in aopvisuals. There's 2 of them. You'll see one that has animals and a whole bunch of, you know, Steve Irwin stuff. And then the other one will be people. So go check it out and, you know, give me a follow, give me a like, whatever. And that's all I'm going to say.
Okay, I'll put the link to both of them in the description so they can just head right over to your stuff, get you some follows.
Awesome.
And all of those awesome. I think I was going to say awesome and amazing, but I made it one word.
Like
awesome. Awesome. Okay, that's it for me, your girl Penny.
All right.
And Melvin.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Hey, I have something for you too. So, because I really believe that this, I said this to my wife. I said, she's going to go somewhere with this because you just have a way with people. And you have a certain gentleness about you too. That's great. So what I want, I'm giving you this. It just says thank you for allowing us to see you because that's my little motto thing. And I normally give that to all of my customers. Let me give this to you. You can start, get like a little case because you're gonna have more people. And keep everything that you get. If somebody can bring anything about their business, even if it's a business card, then that way you'll be able to look back and say, wow, when you have your own show. And you invite people back, you know who to invite back. So there you go.
I might cry right now. That was so awesome. Oh my gosh, it's such a good idea. I'm trying not to cry. I'm a crier. You can't do stuff like that. I'm a crier. Wow, that's awesome. And I will definitely keep this. Thank you for this.
You're welcome.
And the words.
Yes.
I appreciate it. Okay. Wow, this has been emotional. It was almost like church. Okay.
Right.
All right, so I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.